Well, I recently saw someone on Reddit say my AMH was already low and now it's dropped even further. What can I do to raise it? So this is the exact fear that so many of us face when you get those AMH numbers back and it feels final, like your fertility is out of your own hands. But here is the truth. While AMH is one piece of the data, it does not tell the whole story. And so this episode, we're talking all about how nutrition, supplements, lifestyle strategy, and targeted testing can reduce inflammation, support egg quality, and improve the chances of pregnancy success, even when you feel your numbers are discouraging. Excited for you to listen? Let's go. Welcome back. I'm Sarah Clark, founder of Fab Fertile. For over a decade, my team and I have helped hundreds of couples improve their chances of pregnancy success, whether naturally or through IVF. We specialize in supporting those with low AMH, high FSH, diminished ovarian reserve, premature ovarian insufficiency, and recurrent pregnancy loss through functional lab testing and personalized fertility strategies. Today, we're digging into AMH and what are the specific diet and lifestyle strategies and testing you can do to improve those numbers. This episode is for you if you've been told your AMH is low or dropping and you want to know the steps you can actually take. You feel overwhelmed by all the advice from going gluten-free to taking a bunch of supplements, and you want a clearer, more functional fertility lens to really be able to improve your numbers and improve pregnancy success. You're ready to learn daily practices like balancing blood sugar, targeted supplementation, nervous system support, and really can help improve the chances of pregnancy success and improve your egg quality. Thanks so much for listening. I'm so thankful that you're here. Make sure you hit subscribe or follow. If you know someone else who's on the fertility journey, please share this podcast with them. Today we're talking all about AMH, where it's not just about, we need to know the number, but it's not just about hanging our hat on this AMH number and thinking there's nothing we can do. So we're talking about nutrition and lifestyle strategies that can help low AMH and diminished ovarian reserve. Everything we do here is to talk about how to reduce inflammation. I've done a whole podcast episode about inflammation, but really from a food sensitivity. So definitely send me a message at hello@fabfertile.ca, subject line 10-day. I'll send you the elimination diet. It talks about how to take out the top allergens, systematically reintroduce them. It's for 10 days. You can do anything for 10 days. Figure out how food impacts your body. We need to take the right supplements that are going to be right for your fertility. I see so many people taking a boatload of supplements, which can just really have you having expensive pee. There's specific ones that are the foundational supplements. Anything beyond that, we have got to do testing. Otherwise, you can just be throwing good money after bad. Looking at the health of your gut microbiome. If you got a parasite in there, a worm, a overgrowth of bad bacteria, fungal issues going on in your gut microbiome, that could be why you have low AMH or diminished ovarian reserve. And your REI is not going to look at this. So the health of the gut microbiome is key. I have done multiple episodes on this, and we've got to take our health in our own hand, address the infection, and repair the health of the gut. We need to work on our sleep. If you have dysregulated sleep, that is a huge clue. It's not about you pounding down more benzos or melatonin or magnesium, which magnesium can be helpful, melatonin can be helpful, but we need to dig deeper. Why is your sleep off to begin with? From a magnesium deficiency, liver support, blood sugar imbalance, your adrenaline is spiking because you're so stressed out, and then nervous system work. So if your nervous system is dysregulated from all the stress you're under here to try to figure this out because you've got the low AMH diagnosis and it's got you so wound up, that could be why. That could be driving inflammation in your body, tilted your biomarkers all the wrong way, and that could be why it's not working. So it's not about you avoiding stress. It's looking to see exactly what's driving it and making some targeted steps to actually be able to implement this, to make some changes. So inflammation is going to impact your egg quality. If you've gone through IVF retrievals and been told you have poor egg quality, that the embryos are all being tested abnormally and you're wondering what to do, there's lots you can do. We need to take our health in our own hands. IVF is there. It is not where I got to save all my money for IVF and not work on my health. That is a definition of insanity, being able to tweak the IVF protocol without going back to see why, if the majority of us can get pregnant naturally, what has been missed. The inflammation is going to impact egg quality, hormone signaling, implantation, and the pregnancy loss, miscarriage risk. So it is extremely important to be your own advocate. Don't let someone have you second guess that something has been missed. We need to look at our own health, use testing. We ship testing worldwide, North America, Europe, Australia, New Zealand, being able to use testing and looking at your biomarkers, blood work, and making sure the right strategy for you. So if your body is inflamed, that could be why when you're doing all the PRP, you're putting in inflamed cells into your ovaries. No wonder that it's not working. The reproduction is going to take a back seat because your body thinks it's on fire, it's inflamed. And so we need to be able to do this in a targeted manner. So looking at the nutrition, looking at that elimination diet, anti-inflammatory foods. Yes, the Mediterranean diet can be good, but we need to look beyond that. The elimination diet is the gold standard. Send me that message at hello@fabfertile.ca, 10-day to get that elimination diet guide. You want to take out dairy, gluten, soy, corn, peanuts, eggs, processed sugar, alcohol, 10 days, systematically reintroduce. Tells you exactly how to do it. You want to add in some antioxidant rich foods, berries, greens, healthy fats. We want to look at that gut health. So we're doing the stool test here, and it's showing that there's an imbalance going on in there. And maybe you have leaky gut from all the antibiotics and the stress, birth control, that can then predispose you to leaky gut. And so your body just mounts an immune response to your favorite foods, lets in all the nasty critters, and that could be why you're being told you have poor egg quality. We need to be able to heal that and reduce the immune activation. Blood sugar imbalance. So if your glucose is on a little roller coaster, you're getting hangry, you got mood swings, poor sleep, you want to tear your partner's eyeballs out because your blood sugar is all over the place because you start every morning with a bowl of oatmeal and wonder why your blood sugar is on a roller coaster. We need more fats and protein, way more protein than we think. I have a whole protein guide. Send me a message at hello@fabfertile.ca, subject line protein, and we'll send you that guide. Looking at your blood sugar, sometimes we need to have that continuous glucose monitor. We can put that on our arm here and see how our blood sugar is impacting our health. And that is a definite theme that we see with low AMH. It's key. Environmental toxins, if you've got heavy metals, mold, we just gotta be careful, but go on doing all these one-off protocols and chasing mold down a rabbit hole. So obviously if you have a leaky basement or a leaky house, we need to be able to address that. You can do mold remediation. We need to be very careful on how we address that. But we need to work on the foundational pillars here of the diet, the sleep, the movement, the stress management, and then we can do other strategies. But we do use the testing to determine what's going on. Sometimes people go down a whole SIBO, small intestinal bacterial overgrowth, or a mold, and we just miss the foundational pieces. Yes, we can address those as we go along, but just be careful. Oh, I did this and I did that, and it didn't work. Well, we didn't work on the foundational pieces. So we do food sensitivity testing, stool testing, looking at the DNA of the stool, genetic testing, different than the karyotyping you're going to do at the fertility clinic, and then looking at all your biomarkers, and also looking at your partner. Yes, looking, even if he's been told his semen is amazing, we need to look at his semen analysis with the DNA fragmentation and all of his biomarkers. And we see couples with similar microbiomes passing infections back and forth. So we need to be able to address that. And then taking out the plastics, going organic as much as possible. We want to reduce if you got a guy in a suit spraying our food and farmers dying of cancer, and we wonder why genetically modified food, we don't want to be exposed to that. And so if you're going to argue about it, then, we want you to have an open mind. And so obviously some of it can be cost prohibitive, but we need to be the dirty dozen. So the foods that are the most highly sprayed, we want to avoid those. And there's the clean 15, so you can opt for those. But basically offer organic as much as possible. Is it perfect? No, but it's better than the ones that are fully sprayed with all the pesticides. Genetic testing, and then to really be able to support those detox pathways. And so nervous system, stress in itself is inflammatory. So we got to calm your system through breath work, through meditation, sleep hygiene, not watching TV before sleep and getting exposed to blue light, which can impact your melatonin. I did a whole podcast episode on sleep, so check that out. So looking at our nervous system, we have a whole mindset checklist where people are like, I don't need the mindset side of things. I'm totally fine. Just give me the testing. I'm going to tell you right now, the people that tell me they don't need the mindset are the ones that need the mindset the most. The stress, just because you're a type A, controlling, get it done kind of person, you're like, I'm totally fine. I'm not stressed out at all. I'm going to tell you the theme that we see with low AMH and diminished ovarian reserve is nervous system dysregulation. And that has tilted all your biomarkers the wrong way, where you do the food sensitivity test and it blows up with all your favorite foods. Yes, that was me. I have a whole bunch of gut infections, which have impacted your egg health. Yes, that was me as well. And I actually would have said when I was going through it, that's when I was diagnosed with premature ovarian insufficiency at 28, I would have said I was not stressed. I was completely stressed. I just was a Energizer bunny and just kept going. And so we need to be able to step back. For me, it's getting into nature, doing things, hanging out with friends and people that make me happy, not just keep going and pushing ourselves. We have mindset coaches that can help identify those different things for you. If it's the perfectionist, if it's the controller, if it's the avoider, if it's the victim. If it's the hypervigilant, you got to check the protocol, recheck the thing that someone gave you. You're always hypervigilant. Or the hyperachiever. God, I can't tell you how many people are like, I'm doing IVF, I'm working 50 plus hours a week, and now is the perfect time for me to sign up for a graduate program. No, now it is not the perfect time for you to do that. That is causing so much stress in your body. And I got people telling me that I'm like, what graduate program are you doing? Oh, I'm doing an electrical engineering graduate. No. Is that impacting your fertility? Yes, it is. So we need to be able to have someone call you out on your stuff just because you're a get it done kind of person. That is your superpower. We don't beat ourselves up for that. Great. It got you here. You've discovered me in this podcast because you're probably researching night and day like I do. But we need to be able to then give it over to someone else so our body can then know it's safe. Because right now the body is, you got to do it all. If I don't do it, who will? Some insight that we see. So this high sensitivity C-reactive protein, you want to have that below 1. I cannot tell you how many people I see that it's over 1. So inflammation, chronic inflammation in the body from either from your diet, from your gut microbiome, from blood sugar, from stress can then impact that. And I've got a whole episode on that. So that's really important. And it's regularly missed by your REI. And that inflammation, when you comment, it can help improve your energy. PMS, your cycle should not be PMS symptoms. Mood swings and bloating and cramping. No, you shouldn't have that. That's a clue that something's off. And then your ovarian function can shift. We want to, from the nutrition standpoint, look at whole foods, antioxidants, healthy fats. You want to avoid processed foods. I think we all know that, but we kind of avoid them. Yep. Blood sugar. We want to have more protein and fat, fiber at every meal, avoiding caffeine as much as possible. But we don't want to do the elimination diet and then avoid caffeine too. If you're still having caffeine, you do the elimination diet and then take caffeine out later. Otherwise, it's just too much. And we want to take out those triggers like we talked about with the elimination diet: dairy, corn, gluten, soy, eggs, peanuts, processed sugar, alcohol, 10 days. And then we can consider some supplements. So these ones are our foundational supplements. Anything beyond this, we really want to get some testing to, otherwise you could just have expensive pee. So you want the magnesium glycinate. It's good for your nervous system, your sleep, your blood sugar support. You and your partner take this. Omega-3 lowers inflammation, supports your egg membranes. CoQ10, good for the mitochondrial energy for your eggs. CoQ10 is key. Prenatal, you want to methylate. Do not take a folic acid. You want methylated prenatal. It's going to support your methylation pathways. And a proper prenatal that has all the nutrients you need. Men's multi, you want your partner to take that for sperm health and oxidative stress. Vitamin D3, K2. Can't tell you the number of people that with low AMH and diminished ovarian reserve have low vitamin D. We need adequate vitamin D. We want it 60 to 80 for hormone signaling, egg health, immune balance. We want a good probiotic. So it's good for your gut health, estrogen clearance, reducing inflammation. And then we're going to do some of those advanced testing. We talked about doing the stool test. We did the GI map test, addressing those infections, repairing the health of the gut, looking at the food sensitivity test along with the elimination diet, doing the genetic testing, different from the karyotyping. This is epigenetics. Even though you might have a history of cancer, diabetes, high blood pressure, heart attacks in your family, that is not your destiny. So there's things you can do from a diet, lifestyle, and supplement recommendation to really personalize this. So you're not just throwing spaghetti at the wall and guessing. Using your genetics, developing a personalized plan to help improve pregnancy outcomes, prevent gestational diabetes, prevent preeclampsia, because you can push yourself and go through IVF and then have a horrible pregnancy and postpartum. I've got people telling me they didn't even bond with their child because their health was so bad afterwards. I consider a continuous glucose monitor, so it's going to track your blood sugar in real time. We have people just do that so you can actually know exactly how blood sugar is impacting your health. That high sensitivity C-reactive protein, do you have systemic inflammation? Maybe that's the clue. It's multifactorial of how we go and address that. And then looking at your thyroid, our whole thesis on this, is it actually early menopause or is it your adrenals that impact your thyroid, which impacts your AMH and your FSH and your follicle count? Looking at your iron, you want your ferritin between 80 to 100 for IVF. We see it super low. So the iron can impact the thyroid. The homocysteine, we've done a whole podcast episode on that. And that's impacted by your methylation pathways. Inflammation, ANA, if you get a positive anti-nuclear antibody, are you trending towards autoimmune disease? What can we do to reduce inflammation in the body? And so that's not going to turn that on. Nervous system reset. So the supplements can be helpful: Epsom salt baths and magnesium glycinate, omega-3s, daily practices, meditation, breath work, prayer, yoga, journaling, EFT, so emotional freedom technique can be helpful, acupuncture can be helpful, anything to reduce stress. For me, it's getting out in nature. And so stress is inflammatory. You need to be able to calm the nervous system. That is equally as important with us saying, let's reduce inflammation from your diet and from a gut infection and a food sensitivity. It might have just been the stress was the thing that pushed everything the wrong way. So it's not about avoiding stress. It's building in boundaries, building in strategies to then be able to nourish the body and bring the adrenals and everything back online. I do hear it all the time where I'm like, I went gluten-free and got pregnant. So yes, it can happen where we do change our diet and people go on and get pregnant. But a lot of the times with diminished ovarian reserve, premature ovarian insufficiency, low AMH, it can be multifactorial. So we need to be able to look at this in a targeted way. And so it's not usually just one thing. It's all the things that we do. And right now you might just be reading a bunch of books and blogs and following generalized recommendations. So we need to do things that are customized for your health. Being able to work on your nutrition and lifestyle. They're really powerful tools. If you've got low AMH or high FSH, using the testing, IVF can be there for you when you're ready, but we need to actually make a determination of when to bring it in. You bring it in prematurely. I know you're in a panic really to have your child, right? They feel this is pausing, but this is the actual thing that's going to then either help you get pregnant naturally, or if you do go to IVF, you're going to improve the chances of it working. Definitely things for you to do in a targeted manner. So you're ready to get my eyes on your specific situation, send a message to hello@fabfertile.ca, subject line fertile. I'll give you some options to help. Take care.